think that some of the astronauts have indeed seen it, seen creatures. There have been pictures that have gotten out um, that show structures, that are clearly made by some kind of intelligence. We did a story, again, a long time ago, about a woman who worked for NASA, and her job or included airbrushing out images from moon photos. And she came forward and admitted that that was part of her job, so that the pictures that the regular public sees are wiped out. And that's even happened on some of the photos that we've done. We found an entrance into
Antarctica.
the Antarctica, right? And we had the coordinates there and everything. Well, that wasn't up on our website very long, and suddenly that was no longer. It's like somebody spilled India ink on it. And with that story, I went back and gave people information on how they could still find evidence of it, even though the efforts had been made to cover it up. So you just have to kind of get smart and get tricky with some of this stuff to find the truth.
Right.
And the other thing is people need to realize that our science fiction, whether it's in movies or books, and NASA's announcements of their grand plans in the future, that many times those things are already happening. We have found very contemporary-looking structures on the moon by using Google Earth, and they look very similar to designs being done by an architect here on the Earth who plans space survival facilities for the future, supposedly. Well, we found some that look so close to what he's designing. And again, we give people the coordinates so they can find it for themselves.
Yeah, the one amazing video I seen when one of the Apollo missions was going across the moon, and the video looked like a smokestack puffing out smoke on the moon. Have you ever seen that one?
Say that again?
On one of the missions, they were filming. They were going across the surface of the moon, and in the film,
right.
You can see it looks like a smokestack letting off smoke on the surface of the moon.
Okay, I've seen some things that look like smokestacks. I'm not aware of smoke coming out of them.
Yeah, there was one that was smoke. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right, that one I don't know about.
I found that very intriguing. Looked like a smokestack. I mean, it was weird.
Yeah, well, some of them do. That's true.
Right.
So many things to check out.
Now, do you think out in the ocean, do you think there's any underwater bases of UFOs near you or off?
Oh yeah, because there's been so many reports of oftentimes from people who work for the Navy and they're way out at sea, where they have seen UFOs going into the water, and people make a distinction between underwater UFOs and those in the air. Well, the craft are impervious to air and water. So, it's not a big deal for the ones in the sky to fly into the water. I have no doubt at all that there are underground, facilities where the UFOs are.
Yeah, because it makes
There's a lot of activity.
Go ahead.
No, there's a lot of that kind of activity reported off of Malibu, and there's pictures of, it almost looks like ancient Roman column structures, off of Malibu, and that's where people see a lot of UFOs.
Wow. Yeah, Catalina Island, maybe, I think.
Well, that's the same general
same area. Okay. Yeah,
it's closely.
Yeah, if you think about it, it makes a really good hunting blind. I mean, you can go deeper than probably most of our ships or submarines can go, and you can do it real fast and come out of there real fast, and we play catch up.
That's right. And just remember, anything that NASA's telling us about their plans for the future probably already exists.
Oh yeah, I mean we had the stealth what back in I don't know how long we had it before it was ever introduced. That's like all these people want to go to Area 51. I don't think there's nothing there but a few secret aircraft that we test fly. What do you think about that?
I think that it is, well, Tonopah is adjacent to or is in the same area in Nevada. It's a little bit less known and certainly more secretive than Area 51. But yes, there is more than just testing of our equipment at Area 51. There is interaction with UFOs, without a doubt. And I wouldn't be, they are so intense on keeping people off of Area 51 or out of Area 51, that they threaten people with being shot. And I think people ought to be real careful. I don't think the idea of storming the place is such a great idea.
Well, there was a guy shot about 5 6 months ago. It happened actually. Me and Gary was on the radio together when it happened, and he died.
Well, like I said, I think people are very foolish to just go, you know, charging into the place because it has signs all over the place, and anybody who's gotten too close has seen, very formidable people with guns and, in, I don't know,
Well, I mean,
jeeps or something.
in a way, it's like an act of treason. I mean, you're storming your own government's military base, for the love of God, right?
Right, absolutely. So I think the truth needs to come out about Area 51, but I don't think that storming the place is going to do it.
No, that would probably
I
make
could be
things.
wrong.
I think it'd make it worse, honestly, in my opinion.
I think yeah. And after what's been going on at the border with the way we're treating children in cages down there, well, I think maybe we need to be real cautious about our government. I mean, who's to say what they will or will not do?
And especially if there's a shadow government that nobody governs them but themselves. That's a dangerous thought in itself, right there.
Right.
And
how did you get interested in all? How did you get interested in all this?
Oh,
how did you get interested?
Yeah, when I was younger, I seen something. I don't know if it was a UFO. I was like 4 years old, and it was flying real low. And we lived in the country, and I told my mom, I said, "What is that? It's not a plane." And she just took me in the house and said, "Don't worry about it." So it wasn't your normal plane, and I was only about 4 years old.
But it was remarkable enough that it left an impression on you.
I never left my mind. That's for sure.
Yeah. And when you're only four, and it makes that kind of impression, there's got to be some truth to it.
Right. And about 35 years ago, the Bigfoot I've seen, I don't know if it was a Bigfoot. I can just tell you it was like late at night. There was four of us, and we was just out on a summer night, and we stopped to take a pee break, and it was kind of lightning, and down in the field down below, a couple hundred yards away, it would light up the sky, and we looked down, and there's this real tall, wide, hairy person. So, and then the next lightning bolt, it wasn't there, but there was this like 400-year-old oak tree. Regardless, we got in the car and we left. So I don't know what it was, but yeah. Now, have you ever? Go ahead.
No,
Mary.
go ahead.
I was going to ask you, have you ever seen a Bigfoot on your own out investigating or in your travels anywhere?
From my own personal experiences, we did a major story on, I think it was back in 2015 in the Bigfoot section, so people can go and look it up if they want to. But it's called just type in Valley of the Bigfoot, and you'll probably, get the story that way. And when I was doing that story, one of the men that was involved with it, he grew up in the mountains, so he's a mountain kid, or mountain boy, mountain man. And he took me to one of the caves where the Bigfoot will often take shelter. We went up a gravel road, single lane, parked the vehicle, and then he had a machete so he could cut the weeds. And we went about a half mile off this dirt road and, eventually got to this cave. I think it was maybe 8 feet across and 5 feet high. as far as the entrance went. But when we started walking toward it, we heard this bird sound, which didn't sound exactly like a bird. And then off in the distance where we were headed, where the cave was, there was like another bird that didn't sound like a bird that answered it, and then everything got silent. And to this day, I felt like one Bigfoot was warning the other Bigfoot that these human beings were invading the territory. Um, and I've seen the footprints, a number of times. We've gotten hair samples. I've seen the claw marks when they broke into somebody's house. So I've seen those kind of things, but I have not come face to face with a Bigfoot.
Right. And now, another thing I was going to say, there's so many people out looking and doing calls anymore. Sometimes I wonder if you're not hearing somebody else doing calls that you don't even know, trying to hunt one. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I don't. Try it again.
In other words, two groups of hunters are going out, say, on the weekend looking for a Bigfoot, and they don't know each other.
Oh, I got you. I
they're knocking on trees and howling and hollering, and they might think they're got some evidence or talking to one, and it's just a couple researchers. There's so many more people out doing that nowadays.
It could be. I personally think that show, Finding Bigfoot or Searching for Bigfoot, I think is a big scam. I don't think they're ever going to come up with something really good. The Bigfoot are, they can really, let's say, read people. They can sense that you're coming long before you get there. They can tell what kind of vibration you send out. They know if you're good or bad or what your intentions are, and they will go to great lengths to avoid you. I think that the only time that there's ever confrontation is where hunters have shot at them, or they put the Bigfoot in danger in some way. Otherwise, my experience and my understanding from talking to many people is the Bigfoot simply wants to stay out of our way.
Well, plus when they go out there, there's a whole film crew of probably 15, 20 people.
I know.
So, I
know. They're never going to get close to a Bigfoot that way.
Yeah, how stealthy can you be? There's a whole film crew and stuff going out there, and you're only going out one night and probably scare more things up than anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a bunch of drunks that just suddenly parked out in your backyard, the last thing you're going to do is go out and let them find you. You're going to turn off all the lights and head to the basement.
Well, unfortunately, Mary, we're almost out of time. I want to give you a couple minutes. Any websites or anything you want to share, any upcoming events, go ahead.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I will be speaking at the Alien Expo in Knoxville, which will be on the 17th and 18th of August, and I'll be speaking on the 18th at 10 in the morning, and my subject will be UFOs and underground bases. I have put together a photo show, so it's going to be lots of visuals, which, I'm really glad I'll be able to share. I love talking on the radio, but then we're limited to my inability to really create great word pictures. And so I'm looking forward to sharing those pictures. And if anybody wants to learn more about it, the name is Alien, and then the letter X, the letter P, and the letter O.com, and alienexpo.com. It looks like it's going to be at the Expo Center in downtown Knoxville, which is a big place, or I think it might be one of the best ones that's happened on this side of the country. Most of them happen out west. So that's something that I guess I should really, bring up. And the website is skyshipsovercashers.com, and Cashers is the name of a mountaintop town here where we first started seeing UFOs, and it's spelled just like cashier at the grocery store. And I've got, if you mention underground bases, I've got a book called Underground Military Bases Hidden in North Carolina Mountains, which, people might be interested in. I've got another one called Cherokee Little People Were Real, and those are two topics some of your listeners might be interested in, and both books are available through Amazon.